It had been almost a month now. A month of gradual frustration. She only stayed in the house, watching TV and doing nothing. The caretaker took care of everything. The woman was someone from his church, much to Abigail's annoyance. She would no doubt go back to report all of her behavior to the pastor's wife. Abigail had firmly refused to visit the church days and weeks after they had arrived. Emmanuel had informed her that his atrocity had been announced in the church. She was sure they were all waiting for her to show up so they could ridicule her. She bet his pastor was just waiting for the perfect opportunity to call her a slut in the most biblical manner possible. She was not planning on sticking around at all. Hence, it would be best if she did not show anyone her face. She had messed up his life already and had used him sorely, but she still had a bit of conscience left. It would be in so much embarrassment if people knew she had left him just weeks after she came. People in the compound had started poking their noses into their affairs already. They tried to pry information out of her whenever they saw her spreading her clothes out to dry in the sun. Abigail ignored them all. She had also given strict warnings to Emmanuel not to even try introducing her as his wife, and he was not allowed to bring anyone over. Thankfully, he complied. His reasons for complying were not given, and it was so hard to read the man. She was at least thankful she was in the lap of comfort. He hadn't been lying when he said his house ran automatically. He had nearly all home appliances run electronically. He had a dishwasher, a washing machine, a vacuum cleaner. Every other thing he could not do for himself was done by his house help, a robust lady of 40 named Chioma. After Chioma's first attempt to know who she was, Abigail had shut her up in the most annoying language possible. The woman had kept to herself after that, and Abigail was glad. She knew he was a piano master. She had no idea he taught so many people. He was rarely home. His cab driver picked him up early and dropped him off late at night. There were days she had been anxious about his late night entries, but she ignored them. She had no interest in babying anyone. She had more urgent issues herself. One of them was Jeremy's refusal to pick her calls, and so was all of her Lagos friends. This was not their agreement. Lying across the sofa with a bottle of juice opened in front of her, Abigail scrolled through her phone. She pressed the dial button for Jeremy once again. The call was sent directly to voicemail. Panic settled in her guts. She sat up at once, throwing the cushion on her body to the floor. It brewed all over her body. Chewing her fingernails, she dialed Cynthia's number while using a private number. Cynthia was her roommate in school and an unofficial advisor. She also lived in Lagos. The phone rang for several seconds before she picked, sitting on the edge of her seat. "Why are you not picking my calls, Cynthia? I have been calling you for several hours." There was silence on the other end. "Cynthia," Abigail called anxiously. Why was she silent over an issue they had both planned together? "Cynthia!" A loud screeching voice sounded from the background. Heavy music could be heard. "Abigail, stop screaming my name. Was it me that asked you to have sex unprotected?" Anger consumed Abigail. "Was it not you who asked me to date Jeremy because he had more money than others?" "I did not know you were that stupid to have unprotected sex," Cynthia shouted back. If you do not have any sensible story to tell, kindly cut off the phone." Abigail was well aware of Cynthia's temper. She quickly decided to calm herself. She needed an escape route. So far, Cynthia was the only one among her friends still picking her calls. Putting on a calm voice, Abigail pleaded, "Okay, sorry, where are you? Let me come and meet you." Cynthia thought about it for a few seconds before giving her the address of a popular hotel in Lagos, Oriental Hotel. Abigail wondered what her friend was doing there, but that was the least of her worries. She needed to connect to Jeremy. If she could get across to Jeremy, he would sort her out. He had enough money to fund her. She could not believe that he was trying to dump her when she was carrying his baby. They would sit through it and talk about everything. She would be free of Emmanuel and the duties they expected of her. He had commented just the night before about her not offering to clean the apartment. What a fool. She would make sure to leave the apartment very soon. She jumped to her feet, smiling sheepishly to herself. She hurried into her room and rolled her traveling box outside the house. She locked the door, not bothering to use the key. She was not coming back. She left the key in the potted plant outside the door. She should at least help the blind man. She ordered an Uber quickly, giving the driver the hotel address. Thankful for free traffic, she got there in no time since they were riding against traffic at that hour. Paying her cab fare, Abigail rolled her luggage into the hotel. The attendants rushed to help her, but she waved them off. She had to call Cynthia first. She dialed Cynthia again. "Come to room 304. The receptionist made the call to confirm, and Abigail made her way to the elevator. Cynthia was very busy by the time she got there. Abigail waited outside the room for what felt like hours. She kept blasting her phones with calls, but they were all ignored. Finally, she resigned to fate and sat on one of her boxes. Whenever someone passed by, she stood up and pretended she was trying to open the door or searching her bag for her room card. After a good 2 hours, the door opened. An elderly man with a big pot belly and a fur holder stepped out, carrying a suitcase. The smell made Abigail take 2 steps back. Cynthia stood behind him, smiling lustfully. They shared a passionate kiss at the door before the man walked off. Abigail opened her mouth. Cynthia eyed her. "Close your mouth before fly speech." "Since when?" Abigail asked. "You kept me waiting." "And so?" came the retort. "Was I supposed to chase my biggest paying client because of you?" Abigail, pissed beyond the need to reply, stood up and pushed her luggage into the room. The door slammed shut behind them. Cynthia began screaming. "Whose bags are these? I hope you're in your right senses. Where are you going with your bags?" Abigail stared at her, confused, her beautiful eyes dancing with shock. "What do you mean?" "I came to stay with you, of course. That was our argument." Cynthia eased. "How stupid can you be? You allowed a rich man to get you pregnant and got nothing out of it. Not even one of his dollar cards while you were hanging on his arm, just to show how stupid you are. You cannot stay with me, oh. Am I the one that got you pregnant? Why should I take care of a pregnant woman?" Abigail was pissed as well, but she could not afford to react fully. She had come to squat with her. Fighting her would mean going back to that blind bat. No way. His parents must be happy they got him a free nanny. Cynthia walked to the wardrobe and brought out her handbag. She pulled out a thick wad of money, counted a few notes, and stretched it out to her. Abigail opened her mouth. "What is that for?" She made no move to take it. She was no beggar. Even the money Emmanuel had given her that money was more than she had ever received from her parents in her entire life. Cynthia smiled sarcastically. "That is for your transport fare to Jeremy." Abigail covered her eyes with her hand. "How could you? You know he left me. How do you think I ended up like this?" Cynthia sneered. "Then you must be stupid. Jeremy left the country yesterday with his parents. He was relocating all along. You were just his last conquest. He wanted to sleep with the school's most beautiful girl, fresh blood in his terms, and he got it cheaply. All it took was a smile and sweet words. You opened your legs wide like an uncultured dog." Tears slipped down Abigail's flawless face as the words sank in. She had loved Jeremy. She had chosen him because he was rich and influential, just as her mother had taught her. "So won't you help me?" she asked thinly. Cynthia rolled her eyes. "From what I heard, you already helped yourself. What a pity your plan fell on the wrong man. But you deserve it, thinking you could trap a man into marriage with pregnancy." Abigail stood up, enraged. "How can you say that? You advised me to pin it on James. That was because we knew your mother would kill you if you did not name a father. We never thought you would actually do it. That was scary. You were gullible." Abigail screamed. Flashes of that night flooded her mind. "You trapped a blind man to save your neck," Cynthia continued. "Even I would never pin a child on someone else. Emmanuel probably knows the child isn't his, but kept quiet for peace. He's waiting for the child to be born, so he will do a DNA test." Cynthia laughed mockingly. "So you plan to stay with him till then?" "What else should I do? I have nowhere to go. I thought you will help me till I give birth. You are an adult. If you decided to keep the baby, you should know what it takes. If I were you, I would abort and walk." "I couldn't abort," Abigail sobbed. "The doctor said I would lose my ovary. You were there." "Keep your sub story," Cynthia snapped. "Find a job and pack out of Emmanuel's house." "I don't know anyone in Lagos now," Abigail cried. Cynthia, tired of her tears, stood up. "I am leaving. My stay here ends by 12 p.m. If I were you, I would be out of this hotel by then." Dragging her boxes close, Abigail hugged them as she sobbed. She could not believe how far her life had fallen. Once the most beautiful girl among her peers, she had walked straight into her own trap. Life always felt like walking on needles, bleeding, painful, and scarring.